So, Isekai. We know majority of them are just rip-offs and copycats of your typical overpowered protagonist that keeps coming back every season of anime. However, once in a while, some isekai breaks away from the formula and adds its own unique feature to the story, like with ReZero, and how Return by Death is basically the single most important thing that helps drive the plot forward, because without it, the story should have basically ended with Subaru's first death, and how Subaru got the power is actually explained and not just given to him with no context. Also, another example is the series Reincarnated as a Slime, where the story doesn't focus on the protagonist being overpowered or being a slime, but it focuses on Rimuru trying to create and evolve his country, which leads to all the major plots in the series so far. So we know that these elements are the core of the story, since for Subaru, all of his suffering and hardships can lead back to Return by Death, and how almost all of Rimuru's obstacle involve him either improving his country or saving it and its citizens from harm. So when we look at this spider isekai, at face value, it would seem that what distincts it from other anime is that instead of the protagonist being human, our protagonist reincarnates into a spider. But actually, I think that this is just a misdirect, because I believe that by how the anime has been portraying the story at the moment, there is something that is not fully revealed, but it's actually the element that differentiates the story from other isekai. So, at the time of this recording, there are only 10 episodes so far, and I may be wrong or right, but we'll only know when the story continues. So, after watching all 10 episodes that is out, I have realized that the events we see with Wakaba, the main protagonist, aka the spider, is not happening concurrently with the events we see with Slane and the other reincarnated students in the Human Academy. And this will all make sense once I'm done laying out all the clues and hints that the anime has provided. And just a reminder, I'm anime only for this series, so I have no knowledge of what's to come. Alright, so I'm going to start all the way back from episode 1. So, the story starts by showing the deaths of all the students and the reincarnation of Wakaba as she hatches out from her egg as a spider. And we see loads of spiders and even a giant adult spider around her. Then in that same episode, the story switches over to the human side of things, where we see Slane and a party, and the way the story introduces the characters makes it seem like the moment we see Wakaba hatches out from the egg is the same moment we see Slane at the party, but in reality, this is false, because we see Slane around his teenage years, and it's implied that he was born into this world. So this means that he has already spent years in this new world, which also means that if we assume Wakaba also gets reincarnated at the same time, then it means that the time we see Slane, Wakaba will also have lived for years in the new world as a spider. This will make more sense as to why their teacher refused to tell them what happened to her, and also makes it possible that what their teacher said about Wakaba being dead could be possible, and will also make more sense, since when we see Wakaba in the series, she is definitely alive. So if the events we see with Wakaba is in the past, then it would make sense that Wakaba dying is possible, just like the teacher said. Also, throughout the story, we keep hearing about a legendary powerful pterodactyl monster that is the same species as Wakaba. And the major clue that points towards and supports this being true is in episode 10, where Ronan, someone known as the strongest sorcerer of the human race, recalls events that happened 15 years ago, where he went into the Great Elro Labyrinth with a group of soldiers to track down a spider monster that was seen in the labyrinth, and is rated to be an A or S rank level. And we know that before this episode, Wakaba has encountered humans before, but she was too weak at that point, so she was only able to run away. So I believe that that moment was the moment where the humans spotted a spider monster and called someone like Ronan to take care of it. Also, in the episode, they showed silhouettes of the monsters in the cave, and most of the monsters that were shown are actually the same as the ones we see Wakaba has faced throughout the story. When Ronan and his men burned down the webs that they had found, they immediately came face to face with a spider that had skills exactly the same as those that Wakaba has, like appraisal, wisdom, evil eye, and more. And the spider was a Zoel, which is exactly the same evolution as Wakaba at that point in time. The point where everything is confirmed is at the end, where we see Wakaba complaining about her house being burnt down and invaded when she was out finding food. And just to remind you, this happened 15 years before the stuff we see with Schlaine and the other students' perspective. Meaning that at the time Schlaine is schooling and got the hero title, Wakaba has been going around and gaining skills and mastering them for 15 years, since we know humans take a long time to mature, but Wakaba immediately knew what was going on ever since she hatched out of the egg. If this is actually true, then I really like how the anime is showing the perspective of different times and different people with a gap of 15 years. So we actually don't know what, where, and how much more powerful Wakaba is in the current time where we see Schlaine. And I think this is a really unique way to tell a story for an isekai. So with that, I think that's it for me. I've laid out all the clues that the anime has given out so far. I may have missed some, but I'm sure those I've stated is enough to convince everyone that this is actually true. And I'm sure the light novel readers would be able to answer if this is true or not. Hope you enjoy this type of video. Leave a like and comment down below if you want me to make more. Follow my Twitter at Animovu. Subscribe to see more of my content. And with that, peace out.